Caroline and Thomas tied the knot not long ago. Thomas held a project manager position at a major corporation, while Caroline managed the front desk of a chic beauty parlor. Her work schedule was split, offering her several days off each week. This abundance of leisure time proved beneficial for Caroline, who was naturally keen and curious, with a wide array of interests and pastimes. Particularly, she was always snapping photos with her phone, far beyond mere stunning sunsets or casual hangouts. Her phone's gallery was a treasure trove of culinary experiments, bouquets from her husband, the neighbor's feline, and every fresh manicure. Caroline also frequently captured selfies. Beautiful, without a doubt, but Thomas sometimes wondered if her constant photography bordered on obsession. However, as time passed, he began to view it simply as another one of her engaging hobbies, an aspect of Caroline he came to accept. During the summer, the salon where Caroline worked temporarily shut down for renovations, giving her extra free time. Conveniently, it coincided with her enrollment in an online course centered around achieving personal desires. It was organized like a marathon, dominated by a female audience, all delving into topics like mysticism and the flow of energies. Thomas had little interest in delving into the nature of the information presented, as he was inherently skeptical of such things. He himself would never have spent money on what he perceived as pseudo-courses. However, his wife, who earned her own income, indulged in this pursuit. Regardless, he thought, as part of the course, the organizers arranged a genuine lecture in the southern region of the country. All participants had the opportunity to attend and engage in an enlightening discourse delivered by a renowned personal development guru. Caroline was immediately captivated by the idea of attending, particularly because her sister resided in that city and the sea was in close proximity. It provided a perfect opportunity for a couple of days of relaxation, especially since Thomas had not taken a vacation this year. Consequently, Caroline prepared a week's worth of meals for her husband and embarked on her journey to the lecture alone. Thomas had no objections. He personally knew Caroline's sister to be very devoted to her family and home life. He trusted that she wouldn't partake in wild parties or excessive revelry, so he allowed his wife to go without any concerns. Upon returning from her mini-vacation, Caroline, in her customary manner, proceeded to showcase the photos she had captured during her trip on her phone. Everything was business as usual. Every exquisite blossom, all the creatures, awe-inspiring sunsets, and the vast ocean were captured on film. However, this time, she seldom turned the camera towards herself, despite her usual penchant for capturing countless selfies. Perhaps her face was sunburned or some other trivial peculiarity caught the man's attention, though he didn't think much of it. Yet over the course of the following weeks, something out of the ordinary occurred with his wife. She became fixated on her phone, constantly engaged in text conversations with an unidentified individual. When questioned by her husband, she asserted it was her sister or a close friend. However, as evening descended, the phone began to receive peculiar calls, precisely during the time when unfamiliar numbers or businesses typically don't reach out. Whenever her husband was present, she would hastily dismiss such calls, expressing her exasperation with incessant robotic voices from medical institutions soliciting appointments. At one juncture, her husband's doubt grew to such an extent that he even implored his spouse to disclose her phone number, eager to investigate the caller's identities. Caroline hesitated for a fleeting moment, then reluctantly relinquished her cell phone. Nonetheless, his search yielded no suspicious results. There was no record of the mysterious subscriber in any way. Yet Thomas remained restless, sensing an air of inexplicable strangeness. And his wife's behavior underwent a slight transformation. She no longer exhibited the same candidness as before, and now it seemed as if she engaged in communication without much enthusiasm. After the completion of her salon's renovation and her return to work, Thomas even went so far as to follow his wife one day. But his efforts bore no fruit. She didn't go anywhere or engage in conversation with anyone besides her clients and salon employees. However, as is the usual course of events, chance intervened. On that particular day, Thomas was working from home, meticulously preparing important documents. He needed a flash drive to transfer the files. But unfortunately, he had misplaced his own. He began searching his desk for a spare, but his search proved fruitless. At that moment, his attention turned towards his wife's vanity table. An open box sat atop it, filled with various trinkets and jewelry, and within it, Thomas spotted a gleaming flash drive. "All right, I'll just take it. I doubt Caroline will mind," thought the man. And so he inserted the flash drive into his laptop, utilizing it to copy the necessary files. However, his attention was soon captivated by a folder within, containing a collection of photographs. As he opened it, disbelief washed over him. The reason Caroline's mobile gallery was so sparse with holiday snaps was plain. Anything too risky for her spouse's eyes, she ditched there. On the display, his partner seemed joyful, encircled by an unfamiliar man against the backdrop of the ocean. In one snapshot, their lips met, and Thomas discerned a love bite adorning her neck. This accounted for the selfie shortage, he surmised with a trace of acidity. Caroline had quashed her usual zest for capturing moments from each and every gathering. Certainly, she scrubbed compromising images from her mobile, yet it slipped her mind to conceal the incriminating USB stick better. That night, after clocking out, Caroline had set off to toast a friend's birthday at a local bistro. Now fully persuaded of her betrayal, Thomas methodically packed her belongings into a bulky suitcase and made his way to the venue. Her circle of friends met him with eyebrows raised, puzzled at the sight of him bearing luggage. Unaware of his presence at first, Caroline was caught up in lively chatter with pals, her back to the door. As he approached, her lively recount of her recent escapade confirmed his worst fears, leaving him utterly disenchanted with his wife. "Why don't you fill me in on the details as well?" bellowed the husband, catching his wife's attention at last. "Oh, Thomas, what are you doing here?" she asked, pivoting and fluttering her eyelashes with an air of innocence. "Don't play dumb. Take your things," he declared, extending a suitcase towards her. "Go wherever you please. Just don't come back to me. I won't tolerate any cheaters," he asserted, ensuring his words carried to every guest present. Caroline wanted to retaliate, but in the wake of those words, Thomas stormed out of the gathering, leaving her friends to dissect the scene and decide whom Caroline would choose to reside with. Thomas wasted no time and swiftly pursued a divorce. Since the apartment belonged to him prior to their marriage, he retained ownership of the primary asset. Although he regretted investing time in an unfaithful spouse, he considered it a valuable life lesson. Naturally, it's preferable to discern a person's true character before committing to a serious relationship, but at least he managed to unveil it before the arrival of children, which in itself was not entirely unfortunate.